And aside from like reading and writing, do you find anything else challenging or frustrating, just like the day-to-day life with
Well, yeah, I mean, on reading, it really depends on how it's presented. So if you give me a document that's cheek to jowl, with the font with the serif, you know, the squiggly bit on it, cheek to jowl, no pictures, I'm just going to go, meh, not going to do that. No, 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 don't want to do that. I'm an author, so I wrote a book, and I had to really fight with the publisher, because I said there must be white space. There must be at least one image, if not two, per page. There must be interest, various, you know, involvement of the person. So the presentation of the information makes a great deal of difference as to how and when. It's also knowing how. So one of the things that may surprise you, because dyslexics frequently have a problem reading, and I was a few years ago, well, we are going back a few years now, probably the third fastest speed reader in the world. And that was something like 3,270 something words per minute, with about a 70% comprehension. Comprehension, given that I basically understand. If you'd given me rocket physics, I, even reading at 1 word per minute, wouldn't have had. But so if you take a subject you basically do know about, and so therefore I taught many people the process. And for dyslexics, actually, the faster you read, using your finger as a guide, the faster you read, the better you have to put the words in before they have a chance to start squiggling around. And also, if you go through fast once, you get a framework. And when a dyslexic has a framework, they can say, this interests me, that interests me, this goes here, that goes there. And suddenly everything makes sense. And you can go, whoa, okay, we can handle this. So the misconception there that they can't read fast, when they've just never been taught properly how to read, especially, that's for everybody generally, are not taught properly how to read, especially given that for the dyslexic person, it would make a big deal of difference. So how you put stuff on the page, how you take it in, all of that. The other key thing I would say is, I don't know if you chaps have come across mind mapping.
Yeah.
Mind mapping. Yay. That was my business for many years. And here's an interesting little thing. I used to work a lot with a group called YPO, the Young Presidents Organization. And when we were doing presentations generally about the brain and how it functions and mind mapping, etc., quite often they would come up to me. Now, these are people with very large multinational corporations and a tremendous amount of money. And they'd come up and they'd say, oh, can you do anything? I think I have a dyslexic or a child with learning difficulties and problems. And so we would do a session for them. But then we asked one day, how many of you think you have dyslexia or some kind of a learning difference? Nearly every hand went up. And what we discovered was these, you know, tycoons of great businesses probably never did learn to read, and had their secretary secretly read everything to them, which they then would remember, think about, cogitate, put into place, and make a successful business. So it frequently does run in the family. And again, it's not being, this was years ago, wasn't being well diagnosed. It still is not. So there are now very simple diagnostic tests. There are all kinds of things. But regardless of that, the goal for you is to find ways to present things that people don't need to feel that they are disadvantaged or disabled, but to be able to feel that they are different. Yay, difference. Each one of you are different. You're all basically humans with 2 eyes and a nose and a mouth, but I can see each one of you is there very different. Difference is good. However, I always think if the teaching abilities increased, the need to label a young brain as disabled would decrease. And that hurts my heart that people do that.
Mm.